Control, this is Mars 295, ready for departure.
295, roger. Countdown is go at T-minus 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hello, everyone. It's Jonas Lamas back again with another issue of Tezos Today. And today I'm really excited to introduce our guest. He is the co-founder and CEO of OCamlPro, located in Paris. And his name is Fabrice Le Fessant. And Fabrice and I had an opportunity to get together face-to-face last month. And I said, this is such an interesting project going on over here. We have to get you on Tezos today to share everything that OCamlPro is working on. So Fabrice, welcome to our video today.
Hello, Jonas.
Great to see you. So in order to kick things off here today, I thought it would be great if the audience could get a background on OCamlPro. What is OCamlPro? How did it get started? And how is it related to Tezos?
So OcamlPro is a company that I founded 7 years ago in 2011. I was a researcher at INRIA, and I was using OCaml a lot, and the OCaml programming language, and I was a bit disappointed that it was not used in the industry enough. So I decided to create this company to help people, help companies to use OCaml in their development. We have done tools like OPAM, the OPAM Package Manager, or Learn OCaml, a tool that is used by the OCaml MOOC for exercises. So this kind of tooling, and one of the activities that we have is to also to develop prototypes in OCaml that involves a lot of research. So I think it was in this context that Arthur Bretman contacted us in 2014, I think. So he had these new ideas, innovative ideas for to build a new blockchain. So at the time, we didn't know anything about blockchain. So we had some knowledge in peer-to-peer, in programming languages and so on, but not specifically on blockchain. But still, we are very excited by his ideas. So we started this project. We helped him to go from these ideas to a specification, and then to write the prototype. We did some few iterations, like 6 months iteration, where we would work for 2 months on the prototype and wait for feedback from his feedback on other testers. And then in 2017, we started to work on the ICO infrastructure. So we had to work on this Ethereum smart contracts and so on. And it was a very stressful experience. But still, it was very exciting, and it was a success, as you know. And we could create the Tezos Foundation thanks to that. So it was a nice big step for the project.
Absolutely. And how big is your team, and how many engineers did you have working on Tezos in the early days, and how many do you have now that are a part of it?
I think in the early days, we had 2 to 3 engineers working on Tezos. The company was very small. It was like between 5 and 10 engineers. Now we are close to 20 engineers, and probably half of it, or more than half of it, half of it, 10 engineers are probably working on Tezos-related projects, like Tzscan or Liquidity.
Awesome. So you mentioned the Tezos-related projects. Tzscan is a major hub of activity within the Tezos ecosystem. I visit it many times a day to check on how my delegation service is running, and the inflows and outflows of funds, and everything related to the health and status of the network. How did you come to develop such an important technology for all of us involved in Tezos?
Well, after the ICO, it was decided that the Tezos Foundation would continue the development of Tezos itself. So 2 of our main engineers, Benjamin Canou and Grégoire Henry, joined a structure that would later become nomadic software. to create a team to work specifically on Tezos on the node and here in Paris. And so the rest of the team, we had learned a lot of things on blockchains, on Tezos, but also on Ethereum and other blockchains. And for us, it was obvious that the most important piece of software for the ecosystem after the node itself would be the block explorer. So we thought, okay, we have this huge experience in Tezos. We should try to contribute to the ecosystem, to still contribute to the project. And so we started to develop Tzscan last year and then released it early this year. I think if Tezos is probably one of the best technology of blockchain, then it should have the best block explorer to match, in some sense, it's the entry point to Tezos for a lot of people. So it should match the quality of Tezos. I hope it's
excellent. Yeah. No, it's a fantastic tool, and like I said, we all really appreciate the fact that you guys are driving forward with that. I understand that you recently received a foundation grant to continue work on Tzscan. What is your vision for where that service is going to go in the next phase of it?
Well, I think there are still many things to come in Tezos, like amendments, votes for amendments, the apps. There is also a lot of things for the bakers that has to be done. And I think that in Tzscan, there are a lot of things that we have to do to match these new features that are coming to better display the proposals. Well, not better, but because currently there are none in the website, but as soon as they will arrive, we should be able to display them. Well, there are many sources of improvements for Tzscan. So also something that we are very interested in is enterprise deployments of Tezos. Not the cryptocurrency, but more the ledger itself for enterprise-related projects. And of course, for this kind of project, we need a block explorer too. So I think that's the part where the open sourcing of Tzscan will be important to contribute to such deployments.
That's very interesting. Yes, I think Can you talk just a little bit more about the vision of using Tezos as a private blockchain or as an enterprise blockchain that might not be the same the instance that we're all familiar with today as a public blockchain?
Well, there are a lot of projects where you would need a blockchain for I don't know, traceability, for exchange, for logging information within a company or between companies. Today there are a lot of projects like that using Ethereum or other blockchains, and I think that Tezos has something to do within this kind of projects, because it has all these nice properties, like the capacity to do formal verification on soon on the smart contracts. Also, the self-amendment can be a way to upgrade the blockchain more easily than with other software. That's the kind of problems where Tezos has a solution that other blockchain have failed to provide in some way. Well,
yeah.
I don't know
Yeah, it'll be really interesting to see how that opportunity materializes over time. Certainly, team members who have enterprise software experience, who have consulting experience, will no doubt be in high demand for those kinds of projects going forward. And I can see how OCaml Pro could be an important vendor in that space, as well as many others who are starting to learn the enterprise side of the technology. Let's turn to Liquidity, which is one of your projects. Can you tell us what is Liquidity and why is it important to Tezos?
So Liquidity is a smart contract programming language for Tezos. Actually, it was born during the ICO, Most of the team here was working on the ICO infrastructure, and I was not involved in that part. I was still a researcher in programming languages at INRIA, and I decided to dive in the code of Tezos. And the first thing I looked at was of course, the Michelson programming language, and I felt that it was a bit too low level as a programming language, a bit hard to program. So I decided to start this project. Of course, I liked OCaml, so I decided that the language should have a syntax of OCaml, which is not always a good decision for newcomers. But we plan to have other syntaxes like close to JavaScript or for Liquidity, so it's not a big problem. But so I started to work on this language, and the idea was to keep the good properties of Michelson, that were safety and the fact that it was harder to write bugs in Michelson. It's still possible, but harder than in, for example, Solidity. And the idea was to keep these properties, but to make the language easier to use, like having variables and this kind of things that you have in most languages. So it was the first version of Liquidity. Now it has been improved a lot by the team. One of the pieces of software that I like in Liquidity is also the what we call the decompiler. The decompiler is a tool that can translate a Michelson program to a Liquidity program, and it's quite useful if you want to audit Michelson code. So you can decompile it to Liquidity, and then it's much easier to understand what it does. And also, I think that Liquidity is a very good target for program verification. Here at OCamlPro, we have a lot of research engineers. Who have a background in program verification, formal verification of programs, and so we have started to work on how to use these skills to make tooling to formally verify Liquidity contracts. So anyway, we have asked for a grant from the foundation to help us in this direction. I hope that we will get their support for that, because I think that having formal verification of smart contract is something that we can have with Tezos, and that is much more difficult to get with other blockchains.
Got it. Yeah, absolutely. And so, with formal verification comes an opportunity for many new kinds of applications, or taking things that exist in the corporate world and applying them to a trustless blockchain environment in a secure way. And so, I'm curious, what kinds of ideas do you have for interesting smart contract applications that could be built on top of Tezos? What are some of your favorite ideas that you've seen or heard about?
Well, for now, we have mostly explored what I would call the standard smart contracts, like multi-sig or ERC20 like smart contract. We have written some of them in Liquidity to test. But I think there's a lot of opportunities in Tezos to for example, rule the interactions between users between Tezos users using smart contracts. For example, between the bakers and their delegators. Like if you delegate to a baker, you want to know that you will get some part of the rewards, and you want to have it, for example, in a smart contract. Or for example, for us, we at some point have been thinking about using a smart contract for our customers in Tzscan, for example. If they want to have services, they would apply to them through smart contracts. We are still thinking about it. Well, I think there are a lot of opportunities to use this. I think the trust that formal verification can give you in Tezos. Well, in some way, it doesn't need to be very new. It's the same thing as in other blockchains, but with the trust that comes as a benefit of using Tezos on Liquidity. So
absolutely. I would point out that the the top two concerns that I hear as a delegation service, and when I'm talking to other bakers, we all hear the same thing, are how can we have a more formalized process that guarantees that the delegators will receive their rewards. That's obviously up to the baker today to make sure that those funds get forwarded correctly, and a smart contract around that mechanism would be fantastic for us to be able to figure out. And then likewise, many of the bakers and delegation services are moving into an over delegated state. They just don't have enough bond to handle all of the desired delegators out there. And consequently, many of us have created bond pools, but there's a lot of risk in a bond pool today. And so having a smart contract functionality that directly ties to the baking wallet would be a fantastic addition to the chain as well.
Yes, I think so.
So what kind of, obviously there's a lot of people out here in the ecosystem who don't have the familiarity with OCaml and with the protocol and with the programming languages that your team does. How can we as community members take advantage of OCaml Pro? Can we contract with you on things? Can we submit ideas to you? What's the best way for the community to interact with your organization?
Well, we are very open to people contacting us. I think we have a lot of people contacting us either because they want to appear on Tzscan, or we also have people that just want to use Tezos, and we often reply to them to explain them how to use a wallet and this kind of thing. Of course, we are a company, so if we want to continue working on Tezos and contributing to the ecosystem, we need customers, and so it's also an important issue for us. Indeed, today I think that there are also only two teams who have both an experience in Tezos and in OCaml. It's Nomadic Software and OCaml Pro. Nomadic belongs to the Tezos Foundation, and so it's very focused on the node itself. And it's not clear what they can, how they can contribute directly to the ecosystem and help people like that. For us, it's obvious that our target is the ecosystem, and so we have this knowledge in OCaml. So of course, if people want to have improvements in the protocol, like amendments, they can contact us. We can try to write new amendments for the protocols. Of course, there is the need to have the support of the community after that to vote for these amendments to come alive, but at least we can, if you have ideas, we can help you to implement them. We also have, of course, knowledge in Michelson, in Liquidity. So if people want to have smart contracts written for them, that's something that we can also contribute. And of course, we are always looking for new tools to contribute. So we have Tzscan, Liquidity, but we have ideas for other tools. And I think a lot of people have ideas for tools around Tezos. So since OCaml is really the language of choice to interact with Tezos, it's something that we can also contribute. So if people have ideas for these tools, they should contact us, and we can see how to work together.
Great, Fabrice. Well, we'll wrap up our conversation here with the last question, which is what is the best way for folks to get a hold of you or to get a hold of your team in order to continue the conversation?
Well, I think we are not very present on discussion channels, but we usually reply to most our emails. So if they contact us using, for example, the Tzscan contact, I think we'll be very happy to reply to them and to follow this kind of discussions with them. At some point, we were planning to create a Slack channel or something like that, but as I said, we are spending most of our time developing, and so we like to be a bit more asynchronous that a lot of people would like. So
absolutely, you can either tweet or you can work, but you can't do both, and I've found that out myself. So great. All right. Well, Fabrice Le Fessant, thank you very much for spending some time with us here today. We look forward to following OCaml Pro and the Tezos ecosystem in general, and wish you all the best of luck.
Thank you. It's a pleasure for me too.
Okay. Thanks everybody for joining us, and we will see you next time on another issue of Tezos Today. Take care.